Um, I always like to start out talking about all the wonderful things about day trading. There's lots of them, right? First of all, and guys, you'll see me get up from time to time. I'm going to write on the board, but I'll tell you what I'm writing, so you won't miss anything. Find my magic marker. 1. Good. Most of us in here have never traded before. That's great. That's perfect. Those are usually my best students. The ones that come in here that think they know everything, those are the hardest ones to teach. They have all sorts of bad habits, and it's very difficult to break them up. That's right. That's right. The number one good thing about day trading is that, and this is a fact. Let me just find the marker. Fact, I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, 90% of people who try to day trade fail. 90% failure rate. First of all, nobody's going to try to sell you anything tonight. This is a workshop, so don't worry about anyone trying to sell you anything, okay? 90% of people who try to day trade fail. 90%. Anyone want to guess what the biggest reason for that is? I like that. Lack of discipline. That's in there. More important than that, if you've never traded before, you have to learn how to trade. How about lack of education? If you have never traded before, you have to learn how to day trade. We'll talk a little bit more about education in a couple of minutes. Well, number 1, 90% of people who try to do this fail. Number 2, and you'll find very quickly here, guys, if you've done any of these with anyone else before, you ever go to any other place? No? Anyone out there go to a different place or check out another free webinar or a different trading school, class, anything? Anybody ever do that? I encourage you to check out a couple of them before you decide if this is something that you really want to do. Minimum, if you've never traded before, 3 to 6 month learning curve. Have I seen people go through our process and pick it up much quicker than that? Yes, absolutely. I don't care what knowledge you have, and I'll tell you a little story about myself in a little while. It takes time to learn how to do it. Right? That's number 2, bad thing about day trading. Number 3, costs. It costs money, 1, for an education, and 2, to open up a trading account. So there's costs involved. Usually, when it's a nice night out and I have 20 people in here, half of them have already decided at this point, this is not something that I want to do. It's hard. This is a hard thing to do. You might go to some places and they'll tell you, no, you're going to take a 1-week training program, you're going to be a successful day trader. They're lying to you. It does not work that way. This is a very difficult thing to do. And on top of all this, there's no guarantee, no matter what class, no matter what training you go through, that you're going to be successful. No guarantee. 0. None. Again, you might go to some place where they say, give me $7,000 for a 7-day trading program, and I guarantee you, you will be profitable. They're lying. There are no guarantees. Right? So that's the worst thing about day trading. Some of the worst things about day trading. Anyone want to know any good things? Can anyone think of any good things? What do you think, Austin? There's money to be made. Not only is there money to be made, there's no limit to the amount of money you can make. 0. No limit. Are you going to become a millionaire in 3 weeks? No. But there's no limit to the amount of money you can make. Period. I have people who sit here that trade 100 or 200 shares, and they make $150, $200 a day, and they're happy doing that. The only difference between that guy and a guy who makes $1,500 or $2,000 a day the amount of shares that they trade. That's the only difference. The only difference. I'm going to show you an example. What else is great about being a day trader? Anything? Anyone on a webinar think of anything that's really good about being a day trader? How about this? You have no boss. You have no boss. This is your own business. Period. You're going to pay money for an education if you decide to do this, and you're going to pay money to open up a trading account. And it is your business. You don't feel like coming in? You don't come in. I had 3 of my traders today made the money that they wanted to make by 11 o'clock, and they went home. They were here for an hour and a half today, and they went home. That's it. Go hang out with your wife, your kids, your girlfriend. Play golf if you're in Florida. Yes, you will learn how the stock market really works. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. No limit to the amount of money you can make. You have no boss. Your time is your own. And another great thing is you can do this from anywhere in the world. All you have to do is download the software, have an internet connection, and you can trade. Unfortunately, I've done it on vacations, where I'll be away and I'll pop up the laptop, and if I get internet connection, I start trading. Not always a good thing, but you can do it from anywhere in the world. Okay. Now, we come into our webinar. We come into our live class. I need you guys to help me and tell me some of the questions that you have about day trading. Some of the questions. And I've given you a couple of them. Costs involved. Obviously, everyone wants to know that. And we'll talk more education, which is part of the cost involved. What else? Anyone have any other questions? The first question you would ask when you walk in here, or to any seminar like this. Anyone? I'll start giving them to you if you don't get them. Oscar, anything? Does everybody know what a day trader does? How we make our money? What does a day trader do? What is an actual day trader? No? You know? Yeah, all right, but so it's something we'll talk about. What does a day trader do? Anything else? I always get how much money will I make? I always get, do I need a certain background to be a day trader? Do I need a skill set? I get how long before I start making money? We're going to go over every one of these guys. I know I'm writing them on the board, but we're going to go over every single one of them. One of the most important questions that you should be asking when you come into this room, first question I would be asking when I came into this room. First question. I do this webinar every week, sometimes with 60, 70, 80 people. Very rarely does someone come up with this. You walk into this room, you're here for a webinar. What's the first question you should be asking? Somebody come up with this answer. I usually give people, anyone who stays with us and goes through part of our education, something, 10% discount if they come up with this question. And it's really the most obvious one. I like that, Nisha. With the economy in the state that it is there a greater probability of losing money or gaining? I like that. I'm going to write that down. We'll talk more about that. economic conditions? More likely to make or lose? That's a great question. Great, great question. There you go. Harold got it. Harold got it. Excellent, Harold. Excellent. That's the first question I would ask if I went into a place and there was some fat guy standing in front of me talking to me. Who the hell are you? Right? Excellent, Harold. Nobody ever gets that. I always have to pull that out or I have to tell them. All right, you know that my name is David Green. I'm the Director of Education here at Equity Trading Capital. I've been trading for 27 years. I worked on the Florida New York Stock Exchange for 18 years. I retired at the end of 1999 and I'm going to tell you how old I am now, when I was 39 years old, when my firm got bought by Goldman Sachs for $6.5 billion. I was a partner of my firm, and I retired. The only thing I've ever done my entire life is trade. Truth of the matter is I barely get out of high school, and I did not go to college. This is all I've ever done my entire life. So when I retired from the Florida Stock Exchange at 39 years old, obviously, I have to do something. I had 2 young children, a 7-year and a 5-year-old. And amazingly enough, as soon as I cashed out of my firm, my wife decided that she wanted a divorce. Very good timing on her part. So what am I going to do? I'm going to trade. That's all I know how to do. So I proceeded in the first, I'm going to say 6 months of day trading to lose about $300,000. I had no idea how to day trade. And I've been trading my entire life. I was a specialist on the Florida New York Stock Exchange, which means I was responsible for making markets in all the stocks. Complete opposite of being an actual trader. So it took me the better part of, I'm going to say 2 years, to figure out the methods that I use now, 8 years later, to recover my money. And since then, I've been successfully trading, teaching, and mentoring. What I do. Trust me when I tell you that I do not do this for the money. I always say it's better to be lucky than good. I was very lucky in my life. I don't need, thank God, but this is what I love to do. I have found something that I'm as passionate about as my trade. I love it. Love to do it. And I'll tell you a couple of stories that I'm really proud of. Quickly. We have, and it'll answer one of the questions. Do I need a skill set? It'll answer that question. I have people in here that run the gamut from college kids, who I get a lot of, who have just spent $150,000 or $200,000 going to school for 4 years and cannot get a job anywhere, period. Cannot get a job. So they'll go to mommy and daddy and say, well, look, I have an opportunity for X amount of dollars to maybe potentially learn something I can do for the rest of my life. And mommy and daddy says, okay, we already did this much. Give it a shot. And the ones who get this and become successful at it now have a career that they can do for the rest of their life. So that's one of the types of people I get here. I have 2 guys who were driving taxi cabs in New York, working 14 hours a day and making $150 or $200 a day. No life, no family life, both younger guys, kids, married, and just a miserable existence. I don't know. Anyone out there ever drive a taxi cab? I did. I did for a couple of years when things weren't as good, and it is miserable. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't eat. It's just horrible. So they went through our process, and both of them sit out there, and they average between $150 and $200 a day, and they never want to make any more money. Yeah, thrilled. Now I've changed my life. I don't have to do that anymore. I go home, I hang out with my little girl, with my wife. I don't want to make more than that. That's it. I'm happy. Those are stories I like. I have 3 Russian women who have gone through our process, and I'll show you a little video later, a testimonial video that they're in. They were all in the fashion industry. Didn't know the difference between a stock and a stock. Just had a passion for it somewhere along the line. 3 of my most successful. So you don't need any kind of background. See, I always think I'm facing the camera when I do this, but I'm facing the other way. You don't need any kind of background. You need to have a passion to want to try and do this. And I want to go back to the first couple of things that we talked about. And we'll be honest for a couple of minutes. One, if you're not in a position where you can afford not to make money for a little while, and a lot of us aren't. You have bills to pay, you're married. This is probably not something that you want to do. But you are not going to make money when you first start doing it. So if you're depending on running into a place like this and starting trading and making money, don't do it. Don't do it. I've had people who say to me, Dave, I want to do this so bad, I'm going to borrow money for the education and borrow money to open an account. And I say, you will not with me. We'll do it somewhere else. This is hard enough to do. You can't put that kind of pressure on yourself. So you have to have, one, the financial flexibility, and two, the time to be able to learn this. The last group of people I have are people who have been trading for many, many, many years, but never day traded. And they're a little older set, in their 50s. And I had a gentleman flying from California for my class and a woman flying from Australia for my class. Both older and have never day traded before, but have invested their whole lives. Went through the process, and both are doing phenomenally well. They learned how to day trade. The one guy who I always document and I always use for a reference, he's just one. He came in a couple of months ago, flew into New York. Probably cost him $10,000 to be here, in the class and the hotels and everything else. And he's traded for 43 trading days since he's been back, and he's averaged $1,300 a day. He's made over $53,000 in less than 2 months since he's been in this class. I can show you. You can talk to him. It's documented. All right. Let's get to some questions. Let's talk about, I think, probably the number one thing, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, how much does it cost to try and start doing this? Probably the most important thing, or one of the most important things. Yes? Everybody want to know the costs involved in becoming a day trader? Oscar? All right. Well, that's what we're going to talk about first. Okay. Let's talk a couple minutes about education first. And you can go somewhere, go and get yourself an education. Again, a couple of things before I talk about money or anything else. If you are serious about becoming a day trader and have never day traded before or have little experience, do not try and do this on your own. I can guarantee you, not 99%, 100%, if you try to get around being taught how to do this, you're going to lose whatever money you put up. I guarantee you. Not 99%, 100%. I guarantee. So let's talk a little bit about education. And you can get yourself an education for anywhere between $1,500 and $10,000. It's a pretty wide range. And if this is something you're serious about, and I'll tell you about a couple other places, you go, you shop around, you check for other places, see what the best fit is for you. You should not pay more than $5,000. Should not pay more than $5,000 for an education. A couple of the most important things about education that you should be looking for. Okay? One, make sure whoever it is that is teaching you is a trader that has traded, that knows what it's like to make money, that knows what it's like to lose money. Very, very important thing. I want to learn from someone who's done it. A big advantage that we have here, unfortunately for me, is that I know every single thing not to do. I learned the hard way. And trust me, that's half the battle. If I can tell you everything not to do and you listen to me, you've already got a big head up. So make sure that you have someone teaching you who's been a trader. Two, this is probably the most important thing. And it's what we call mentorship. That is probably the most important thing. There are a lot of places you're going to go. They're going to charge you X amount of dollars for a 7-day course. And when you finish the course, they're going to say, thank you very much. Go forth and prosper. That's the end of your education. Matter of fact, most places are like that. But mentorship is the most important thing. You are not going to learn how to day trade in 7 days, or 10 days, or 2 weeks, or a month. It's not going to happen. The X's and O's of day trading, the technical analysis, the easier part of what you have to learn. The psychological part, which we spent about 25% of our classroom talking about, is the hardest part about day trading. Fact of the matter is, most people fail due to a lack of patience and discipline than due to a lack of knowledge. Period. You're not going to fail because you aren't taught the right way. You're going to fail because you don't have the patience and discipline to follow your rules and do the right thing all the time. That's simple. What we do is pretty different than what everyone else does. Anyone who goes through any of our education process becomes part of our trading group. That means wherever you are trading, and we have people trading with us from all over the world, from Australia, from Russia, from London, from Hong Kong, from Bangkok, and they have been part of our education process. Anyone who goes through our education process gets mentorship for as long as they trade, period. Part of the education process. So if you're with me 2 weeks after we take a course and you have a question or you have a problem, or if I see that you're losing money more than 2 days in a row, we're going to have a one-on-one conversation. I'm going to sit with you and say, what's going on? Chances are you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Period. Mentorship is the most important part. End of story as far as education is concerned. We have a couple of things here, very quickly I'll tell you about. We have a chat room that is open all day long. Everyone who has ever been through our education process, or some people who are advanced traders and just want to be part of our group, sign up for our chat room. This is how you get your mentorship if you don't live in New York. But it's like you're sitting right here with me. We start at 8:45 every morning. We have our morning meeting. Go over what the stock market did yesterday, what it's done so far today, what we think is going to happen. We talk about 10 or 12 different stocks that we look at, that we follow, that we look at levels at, that we've looked at for a long, long time. And we talk about all those levels, and we go through scenarios of what we're going to do if certain things happen. That's at 8:45 every single day. At 9:30, when the market opens, we trade the markets with you live, period. I am there telling every one of my students and helping them, okay, we're looking at this here. They'll tell me, Dave, I'm looking at this here, what do you think? But we trade with each other the entire day. So from 9:30 to about 11 o'clock, we're in that webinar, usually the chat room. Usually things slow down about lunchtime, and then we're back in the afternoon for the second session. So you basically get your hand held for as long as you decide to trade, period. And that's the most important thing, guys. Wherever you go, make sure you have mentorship, period. And you should not have to pay more than $5,000. There are places you go where we'll give you the class, and then they'll charge you additional fees for the mentorship. When I first started doing this, before I got here, believe it or not, there were people who would pay me $1,000 a day to sit and just watch me trade, period, to pick up what they could from that. So it's out there. It can be very, very expensive. All right? That's education, period. But that's not your only cost to get involved in day trading. Once you have your education, you need to open up a trading account. And that's separate and above your education. You're going to have to open up a trading account with a proprietary trading firm. To do that, again, minimum $5,000. So you're looking at somewhere, and let's go rough, between $8,000 and $10,000 to get your career started as a day trader. Again, this usually eliminates some people. Not a lot of people have $8,000 or $10,000 laying around to try and do this. Don't do it unless you're in a position to do this. And quite frankly and honestly, you have to be prepared for this not to work, if I'm being honest. And you have to make sure that this isn't life-changing to you if it doesn't work out for some reason. I'm just being honest, and maybe I'm turning away business, but that's how it is. There are no guarantees. But that's about what it's going to cost you to become a day trader. $8,000 to $10,000. How many people did I lose so far on the webinar? We just want to get out of here. Anybody? It's okay, be honest. Well, I'll see if you disappear. By the time I finish with these 2 or 3 things, I've usually lost half the people. Trust me. And it's okay. It's all right. Again, this is a workshop. I'm not looking to sell anybody anything. I'm just trying to help you guys understand what it takes to get started as a day trader. That's what it takes. All right? Let's do a couple more questions. We already did, do I need a skill set? That's good. Let's talk about, because a lot of us have never day traded before, what a day trader does. And there are for our purposes, three different types of traders. There is one, an investor. Two, what we call a swing trader. And three, what we call a day trader. Everyone know what an investor does? Oscar, tell us what an investor does. Longer term. Could be a year, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. They buy something and they just hold it. That's what an investor does. Swing trader. A swing trader is technically a day trader, but we might hold something for a day, 2 days, 3 days, a much shorter time frame than an investor. Swing trade. We do swing trade and day trade. By definition, a day trader is what Oscar's told us before. We buy or sell during the day only. At the end of the day, we have no positions. We go home with no headaches, with not worrying about where the market's going to open tomorrow morning. We go home what we call flat with no positions. That's what a day trader does by definition. And I'm going to show you guys an example of a day trader and that their day today. And you guys can see on your screen, hopefully, this is what we call a trader view. Stuart, is that clear out there for everybody, or am I cutting something off? Huh? Can everybody see the whole thing?
It's cut. A lot of it's cut off on the right side.
I'll do it this way.
Yes, good. You're all in.
Okay, give me 1 second. Fix it. How's that?
Yes, good.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so this is a particular day trader that trades in our office. And if you look up here where it says close P&L, you see that this trader made $955 today. Okay? They traded 2,800 shares total. And let's go look and see their actual trades. And we'll go look and we'll see that biggest position they had, first of all, they did no trading until 3 o'clock. No trades at all till 3 o'clock. This person probably wasn't here all morning. Didn't make a trade till 3:10, and they finished right at 4 o'clock. And if you look at the amount of shares, that's this column, how many shares they had, never more than 600 shares was the biggest position they had. And if you look, this is the amount of money they made on each of the shares that they had. $70, $70, $70, all the way down the line. Okay, so this is less than an hour of trading. They did all of their shares, made $955, but no one trade is more than $85. Not one trade is more than $85. This is what we do as a day trader. Our time frame as a day trader can be anywhere from 30 seconds to the whole day, 6 hours, depending on what kind of trade we're in. And we are taught to be in a lot of different kinds of trades. That's what a day trader does. We trade stocks during the day, in, out. We try to make little bits of money that add up to big amounts of money at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the year. Period. Okay. Any of you guys out there ever have a TD Ameritrade account or a Chuck Schwab account or an online account? Anybody? No. Okay. All right. All right. Let's talk about how much money will I make? I can't tell you. I don't know. It's an unlimited amount. What we will do here, and I've had it happen, if you go through the process, and whoever you go through this process with should be honest enough to tell you, it's happened to me once with all the students that I've ever trained, where someone went through the program and just did not get it. Didn't get it. Actually, it's happened twice. Once in the middle of a class where I could see that they just weren't understanding what we were talking about, and we refunded their money. And once after they'd opened an account and just didn't follow a rule. None. Zero. It was just a wild man. And I said to them before they got anywhere near losing their money, this isn't for you and you shouldn't be doing it. And blatantly ignored me. Took himself out of my group and went through like $15,000 in 3 months. Put in 5,000, lost it, put in 5,000, lost it, put in 5,000, lost it. So I will not let someone go that far along without telling them that there's some kind of problem. But I can't tell you how much money you owe. Nobody can. And it's the same thing here. How long before I start making money? I don't know. It's an individual thing. It's just totally an individual thing. Like I said, I've had a couple of these girls go through our process and start making money immediately. Not a lot, $100 a day, $150 a day. And then after a couple of months, just stepped it up to the point where they're doing very, very well. Again, it's an individual thing. How fast you pick it up, how disciplined and patient you're willing to be. And the question, who asked me this question? Danielle. In the economic conditions, are we more likely to make money or lose money? When you're a day trader, it doesn't matter what the market does. It doesn't matter if the market goes up, and it doesn't matter if the market goes down. It makes no difference. We make money either way. Whether the market goes up or the market goes down, period. What we want is what we call volatility. We want the market to go up and down. You have a chart guy sitting right in front of you, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in a few minutes. This is a chart of a stock today. It happens to be the SPY, which is an index for the Standard & Poor's 500. And you can see the stock was all the way down here, went all the way up here, came back down all the way down here. This is what we want. We want to buy here, sell here, buy back here. That's what we look for all day long. And we're putting ourselves in position, and the odds are in our favors when we get in a trade. Anyone ever go to a casino? Ever go to a casino? Never? Anyone out there ever go to a casino, do any gambling? Anybody? Danielle, you live in Miami. That's got to be, you live in Coral Springs. All there is to do is gamble there. Right? There's bingo. There's horses. There's high life. There's casinos. I know. That's why I like it down there so much. Texas Hold'em. There you go. There are, and we're just starting to get into this market now, a ton of similarities between playing poker and day trading. A ton of similarities. I'm actually going out to Vegas in a couple of months. I have a whole class lined up out there. A lot of similarities. The patience, the discipline, the money management, all translate from poker to day trading. So we don't care whether the market goes up and down. Does everybody know, and tell me if you don't, that we can make money whether the market goes up or the market goes down? We can buy a stock in the hopes that it goes up. Everybody knows that. We can also sell short a stock that we don't own and hope it goes down, and we still make money. Anybody not understand that? It's a hard concept for a lot of people. That's the reason that we don't care whether a market goes up or a market goes down. Because if we position ourselves correctly, I will repeat it, if we position ourselves correctly, we can profit when the market goes down. All right? And we'll talk a little bit of language of the stock market right now, and you'll get a little better understanding. If I buy a stock, the language of the stock market, the technical term, when I buy a stock, gives me a long position. I buy something, I'm long. I have a long position. That is the language. First thing you have to learn when you want to learn about day trading is the language of the stock market. And it's like learning a foreign language, especially if you've never done it before. You have a little knowledge. You know what a bid is, what an offer is, what a limit order, a market order. You know that stuff. Most people don't if they've never traded before. And it's like us going to France, me and you, and sitting in a cafe and trying to order lunch. We'd have a problem. Same thing with the stock market. The first thing you have to understand is the language. So we buy something, we have a long position. Everyone knows, and we'll use an example. If I buy XYZ, doesn't matter what it is, and I buy it at $50, 100 shares, and it goes up to $51, I made $100. I bought 100 shares, it went up $1, I sold it, I made $100. When we buy something and we're long, and then we sell it, the technical term now is we are flat. Flat means you have no position. You no longer own anything. You're flat. Okay? So I buy a stock at 50, it goes up to 51, I sell it, I make $100. Now, here's the other way that we can make money when the stock market is going down and we expect it to. I can sell XYZ, and it's called sell short. And I'm not going to get into too much explanation about what short is because it's hard to understand. But I'm selling something that I don't own with the hopes of buying it back at a cheaper price. Not important that you understand the technicals. Just understand that we can make money if we position ourselves whether the market goes up or down. So if I sold short XYZ at 50, for me to make money, the stock has to go down. So if it goes to 49 and I buy it back, technical term being cover. When we're short, we have to cover our short. It's a technical term. I made the same dollar as when I was hoping for it to go up. Same thing. I made the same $100 because I was predicting that the market would go down. This is one of the best things about being a day trader. It does not matter whether the market goes up or the market goes down. We position ourselves, anticipating which way it's going to go, and we make money. That's the important thing to understand about that. So do you understand that? It doesn't matter if the market goes up or down. That's the important thing to get out of that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, what do we want to talk about? Let's talk a little bit more about the language of the stock market. And we'll talk about the indices. All right. Back up. Okay. Make sure everybody can see. As a matter of fact, let me close this. Close that. Over. Got it all in there still? Okay. We're going to talk about the indices now. And what indices are a measure of stock markets. An index measures how well a stock market is doing, whether it's up or whether it's down. And the biggest index, the one that everybody knows about and talks about, is what, Oscar? The Dow Jones Industrial Average. Anyone who talks to anybody, and you ask them how the market did, the Dow Jones was up 50 points today. Dow Jones was down 50 points today. It is by far the least important index that we watch. I could care less what the Dow Jones does on any given day. And the reason for that is the Dow Jones is made up of 30 stocks. Only 30 stocks are in the Dow Jones, period. Biggest stock in the Dow Jones is? Google is not even in the Dow Jones. No. Okay. Anyone want to tell me what the biggest tech company in the world is besides Apple now? Biggest and oldest. They make computers. They've been making computers. Yes, IBM. IBM is the biggest stock in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. There's also Caterpillar, Deere, big industrial stocks, for the most part, are in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Anyone know what the biggest market cap company in the world is? What company is worth the most money? It was Apple for a few seconds. Yes. It is not AT&T. ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil has the largest market cap of any stock in the world. And what I mean by that is it's worth the most money. I think it's $350 some odd billion. So if me and Danielle wanted to buy ExxonMobil, we'd have to come up with about $350 billion to take them over. All right. Dow Jones Industrial Average, 30 stocks, least important index. The most important index that we look at is called the Standard & Poor's 500. For obvious reasons. Most important reason being the 500 at the end of it. This has 500 stocks in it. It has stocks from every single industry. The Standard & Poor's 500. Standard & Poor's 500. It has stocks from every single industry. Apple, Amazon. It has Merck, Pfizer. Every industry that you can think of is in the Standard & Poor's 500. That's why it's much more important that we watch the Standard & Poor's 500. And if we look at our little green and red box here, we'll see that the Dow Jones was up 52 points today. But the S&P 500 was up 1 point. 1 point. So IBM could have been up $2, and that would be the whole 52 points in the Dow. We know every other stock was down. That's why we don't look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We look at the S&P 500, Standard & Poor's 500. There is one other index that we watch. Besides Oscar, anyone want to guess what it is? We'll just tell you what it is. Oscar? The NASDAQ. Very good, Oscar. The NASDAQ market. And the NASDAQ is 99% of what kind of stocks? Thank God you're here. 99% technology stocks. The biggest technology stock in the world is? Greatest company that was ever invented? Ever? Stock that I own company in for 15 years? No, not Microsoft. Microsoft is a piece of crap, for lack of a better word. Stock hasn't done anything for the last 10 years. Google. No, close though. Come on, guys, what's the greatest company ever invented? Ever. Ever. Cutting edge technology. Yes, thank you, Danielle. Apple. Apple. Apple, by far the biggest technology company in the world. Second in market cap only to ExxonMobil. Stock in a very short period of time, relatively speaking, 10 years ago the stock was $20. Now it's $400. And it's split a couple of times in. Apple. So what else? Amazon. Google. Yes. Baidu. All the big technology stocks. And how do we know the difference between where stocks trade, on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange? Because there are two separate exchanges. New York Stock Exchange, which has about 3,000 listed companies, and the NASDAQ, which also has about 3,000 listed companies. Stocks that have four-letter symbols for their names, Apple, Amazon, Baidu, Google, all trade on the NASDAQ. Yes, Harold, they're simple. If the stock has a 1, 2, or 3-letter symbol, Alcoa, Boeing, Caterpillar, trades on the New York Stock. That's how we know what stocks we're trading and what exchange we're trading. It becomes important because of a couple of reasons that we're not going to talk about now. but there is an important reason to know the difference. All right? Talk a little more about the language of the stock market. For that, we'll put up what we call a market maker. Get rid of this little thingamajiggy. Go back here. All right. This box that you're looking at, this whole box, called a market maker or an ECN, electronic communication network. This is how we physically buy and sell stocks all day. We put our orders into this box to buy and sell stocks. Let me try and get one that isn't all screwed up. Now we're after hours now, so it's a little more difficult to find things that aren't messed up. Okay, we'll look at Amazon. Nadeem, yes, you're an hour off. Dallas is an hour earlier, right? But Stuart, didn't we put EST on there, Eastern Standard Time? It's okay. Whatever you miss now, you come back for next week. Or we'll do even one better than that. We're going to invite you, when we finish here in a few minutes, we're going to invite you all to join us for a week. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. So this is an electronic communication network, what you're seeing right here. Also called a market maker. And this is where we physically put our orders in to buy and sell stock. So, a couple of kinds of orders that we're going to talk about that we can put into the market maker. First, before we do that, when you look at a market maker, there's a left side and a right side to the market maker. Okay? So we're going to talk about first a bid and an offer. A bid and an offer. For those of you who have never traded before, have you ever gone on eBay? Any of you ever gone on eBay? Nobody's ever used eBay. Wow, that's strange. You ever go on eBay? Okay. Wait, Danielle has gone on eBay. Okay, Danielle, when you want to buy something on eBay, what do? You put in a bid. Exactly. Same thing with the stock market. Bid equals buy. Very simple. You want to buy something, you have to put in a bid. And if you want to sell something on eBay or anywhere else, you put out an offer where you want to sell it. Offer equals sell. I want to buy something, I make a bid. I want to sell something, I make an offer. Very simple. Common sense. Common sense. Now, looking back at our market maker, there is a left side and a right side to the market maker separated by this white line down the middle. On the left side of your market maker are the bids, people who are willing to buy the stock. And on the right side are the offers, people who are willing to sell the stock. Left side, bids, right side, offers. The bids always go from the highest someone is willing to pay and down in price. Always. From the highest someone's willing to pay and down in price. The offers go from the lowest someone's willing to sell and up in price. Very simple, or not so simple if you've never seen it before. All right, this stock is Amazon. All these little numbers that you see here are the amount of shares that the people are willing to buy or sell at these different prices. Everything in the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ trades in hundreds. So when you see a 2, it's 200 shares. When you see an 11, it's an 1,100 shares. Everything is in hundreds. I'll change the stock in a minute and we'll see a little different story. In Amazon, the best bid The highest someone's willing to pay is $192.37. And the lowest someone's willing to sell it is $192.99. The difference between the bid and the offer, the difference between the bid and the offer is what we call the spread in the stock. The spread in the stock. And in this case, from 37 to 99 is 62 cents. Difference between the highest someone's willing to pay and the lowest someone's willing to sell is called the spread. In this case, it is 62 cents. Let's look at another stock. Let's look at a much cheaper stock. If we can get one that's not messed up. Perfect. This is FCX, Freeport-McMoRan. Let's go look and see the highest bid and the lowest offer in this. The highest someone's willing to pay, $40.54 for 183,300 shares. 188,300 shares. So someone's willing to buy at one price, 188,000 shares. And the offer, where the lowest someone's willing to sell, $40.55. So between the bid and the offer, there's a 1 penny difference. 1 penny. We just look at Amazon, it was a 62-cent difference. We look at FCX, there's a 1 penny difference. So what does all this mean to us? Any idea? Of course not. I'll tell you what it is. We'll talk about liquidity. Liquidity. Guys, you think this is confusing? This has nothing to do with even teaching a class. This is a basic introduction to a little stock market language, and that's about it. Liquidity. And what liquidity is the ability to sell large amounts of stock within a small spread. Okay? If I went back to Amazon, which we'll do. Well, let's leave this up. If I want to sell 188,000 shares of FCX, I can do it in 1 penny. If I want to buy 11,000 shares, I can do it in 1 penny. No spread, very liquid, easy to buy and sell the stock. That's what liquidity is, very simple. Easy to buy and sell the stock. That means you're in a liquid stock. Go back to Amazon just to illustrate. Yes?
So the larger spread is, the less liquid it is?
Correct.
The smaller the spread is, the more liquid it is?
Correct. Yes. Everybody get that? The larger the spread, the less liquid a stock is. The harder it is to trade, actually. The tighter the spread, the more liquid it is. As a day trader, we want to find a mix. All right? Not necessarily a penny, but definitely not 50 cents. We want to find a mix because we want stocks to be volatile, which we'll talk about in a minute. That'll probably be the last thing we'll talk about, volatility. Let's get through liquidity first. All right? So here we have a case. We can sell a bunch of shares within every penny. Let's go look at Amazon. And again, there is nothing more than 1,100 shares is the biggest bid or offer that we have here. The other one, we had 180,000. So if I come in and I want to sell 20,000 shares of Amazon, I'm going to have a problem. There are no bids. Extremely illiquid. Dangerous to trade. We want to have a mix of liquidity and volatility. And let's talk about, everybody okay out there? You with me? Everybody all right? Yes? All right, I'm going to assume everybody's up for the moment. Let's talk about volatility. And volatility, quite simply, is how volatile a stock is. What kind of a range does a stock have? We're going to show you right now. Is there a big range during the day where a stock is volatile that we can make some money in. And if we go look at our market maker again, some of the information on here is going to tell us how volatile the stock is. And if I look right here, I don't know if it's better for me to point or use my... If I look right here where it says LO, well, that's the low sale of the day. And it is $190.11. And if I go right next to that and look at the high sale of the day, it's $198.32. Today, this stock had a range of $8. That's volatile. Volatile. But percentage-wise, it's about $19 would be 10%, about 4%. Percentage-wise, it's not that volatile. But it had an $8 range. Let's go back to FCX. And if we look at the range in this stock, 39.68 was the low, and 41.21 was the high. So that's a $1.50 range. That's good. $1.50 range in a $40 stock, that's what we like. Those are the kind of stocks that we want to trade. I want to be able to find the high and lows in this stock and trade the stock. If we look at the chart for today, and we'll talk about charts for a minute. Let's put up FCX. Go ahead. Yes.
So how would it like being 1 penny in liquidity? So you got to find balance between being too much liquid and not being liquid at all.
Right.
So being 1 penny, what would be the range of another stock that instead of being 1 penny?
2 pennies, 3 pennies,
Yeah.
4 pennies.
Okay.
As long as it's not 50 pennies.
But the range from the low, the high, and the low of the day would change, right?
Of course. It's going to change as the stock trades all day long.
Okay. So you want to find the mean of the trend?
No. What I want to do, again, we're looking at something that's closed for the day. So it's telling us that it had a $1.50 range today.
Okay.
I know that that stock usually has about a $1.50 range every single day. And it's part of what we talk about in our morning meetings. That's why it's one of the stocks that we look at. All right, if we look at, let's look at another one. We'll look at Monsanto, another stock that we look at. And the range, look, 70.27, 72.90, $2.67. It's great. It's a liquid stock with a nice range.
The bid and the offer are like
Always good.
okay.
Always good. Mosaic, 51.46, 53.92. $50 stock with almost a $3 range. It's beautiful. And there's always good bids in offers. So that's where we want to bid.
Okay, that was
That's where we want to bid. Period. If we look at a chart of FCX today, okay, you get the whole day in there. I'll tell you guys what a chart is. Okay, from this white line on is what this stock did just today. Just today. We have some tools. Basically what a chart tells us is history. It tells us what a stock has already done. Period. We probably make 90% of our trading decisions based on these charts and the tools that we put in these charts. And that is called technical analysis. We're going to make 90% of our trading decisions based on technical analysis. High range is good, Danielle, yes. As long as the stock is also liquid. Yes, yes, yes. We want both. And those are the stocks that we gravitate towards. Those are the stocks that we look at. So we are taught that we want to buy a stock when it gets above all our indicators, buy it every time it comes down to one of our indicators, and then sell it as soon as it breaks one of our indicators. So we had several chances to buy and sell this stock. Well, we didn't have a chance to sell it until late in the day. But we had several chances to buy this stock, and every time if we did it, we would have made money. Every single time. That's what we teach you how to do. We are teaching people, and wherever you go, we want to buy stocks here, sell them here. Buy them here, sell them here. Sell them here, buy them here. That's what we want to be doing all day long. We are not getting into any positions in any stocks until we feel the odds are in our favor of those trades becoming good trades. That's simple, and that's what you have to learn how to do. That's what day trading is.
What are the indicators that the line is trading?
Well, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. Let's just say the indicators in there are what I have come up with over the years that work for us. They're pretty accurate. Everybody uses different ones. Whatever works for you, you're fine, and that's what you use. That's it. All right, guys, does anyone, anywhere, have any questions about anything? Anything that we talked about? Any questions you might have about anything that we talked about at all? Give you guys a couple minutes on the webinar. Pop some questions up there. How about you, Oscar? Anything? Anything that we talked about?
I find it really interesting. I like it.
Listen, our chart's the hardest to learn. No, Harold. No. The technical aspect of this stuff is the easiest part to learn. The hardest part is the psychological part. They are not hard to learn. I have had people who have never seen a chart before, and they pick it up very, very quickly. Listen, anyone who comes with us, if I see that somebody isn't picking something up, I'll give them their money back. It's that simple. I mean, again, I told you I'm not doing this for the money. We're a lot different than most other people. How long do we have after the 1 free week to pay the course of tuition? You don't ever have to pay it, Misha. Well, this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to invite all you guys who are on the webinar to obviously join us for a free week in our chat room. Okay? Stuart will put up the information if you don't already have it. It's very, very simple to sign up. You sign up, you come hang out with us in the chat room for a week. Absolutely no obligation. You do not have to sign up for any course because you sign up for our webinar. Told you I'm not going to try to sell you guys anything tonight. For you guys on the webinar, all the information is on our website. It has the course of our class. It has the course of our in-house class. It has the course of just the chat room. But there is absolutely no obligation. No one will hunt you down. You will never hear from us again. What we will do after your week is over, and we hope all of you join us for that, is we will send you a little note saying thank you for joining us. If you have further interest in going forward with us, please get in touch with us. But we're not going to hunt anyone down. I can tell you that our retention rate, for those of you and those people who are serious about day trading, is extremely, extremely high once they spend some time with us. So I am not a salesman. I'm not trying to sell you anything tonight other than offer you something for free. That's it. I won't discuss the price of my class or anything else because if you spend a week with us and then you're interested, then we can talk about it. That's simple. For you, Oscar, you're working full-time? Yeah? What I can offer you is a free demo day with us. If you ever get a day off. You come in, spend an entire day with me from 8:45 till as long as you want to. Spend the whole day. We'll set you up on a simulator. We'll have you actually trading very, very quickly. We'll walk you through the process of how you buy and sell stocks. And you spend a day hanging out, spend an entire day. Well, you can do it. You have my card. I gave you my card. All you have to do is call me the night before you want to come and say, Dave, I'm coming tomorrow. I'll put your name in the system and you come and you hang out for the entire day. If at that point you decide you want to take it to the next step, we'll talk about it further. But again, guys, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything here. What I will do, guys, is caution you, again, that if this is something that you're really serious about, you have to get yourself in the right spot. That's the most important thing. You have to get yourself in the right spot. I'm going to show you a little 4-minute video. How do I contact you with further questions? Will you be able to get into the chat room with us, Misha? That's my question to you. Okay. A couple ways then. You can either, there you go. You can contact Stuart. I didn't even introduce you, did I, Stuart? That was pretty stupid of me. Stuart is the director of our chat room. When I am not in the chat room, Stuart is there. So this chat room is open all day long. The only time I am not in the chat room is when I'm teaching a live class. And I do my live classes in-house at a time when the markets aren't that busy. So when I'm in a live class, it's usually from 11 to 12 o'clock when we're not trading anyway, and then from 1 or 2 o'clock when we're not trading that much anyway. If at any point Anyone needs me for anything, I stop my class. All right? I think the most important thing about us and where we're different than everybody else is the mentorship, and you will continue to get that for as long as you trade, period. So any questions that you have, you can email Stuart at that address. You can email me. I will put up, I'm going to put my cell number up here, guys. Please don't call me unless it's during the day. But you're more than welcome to call me anytime during the day, and I will answer your call. That is my cell number here in New York. You can call me anytime during the day, and I will answer your phone. Danielle, that's a great question. Danielle asked me, are there any good books to read about the market? Depends. If you're serious about becoming a day trader and are going to go somewhere to learn how to do it, absolutely not. Do not read anything. If you've never traded before, it's only going to confuse you. Obviously, knowledge is always a good thing. But it's very hard to read a book and then learn how to apply it to day trading. Even all the technical analysis that we teach, you have to learn how to do it as it applies to day trading. I'm on Eastern Time as well. What are the best hours to contact you and Stuart? If you want to speak personally, the best time to contact me is either, that's a good question, Tom. I'll go over that with you, and everyone else also. The best time to contact me is either very early in the morning, between 7 and 8 o'clock, or any time between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Those are the best times to contact me personally. But if you come into our chat room, we can private message each other. Okay? So if you come into the chat room and you have any questions, all of you guys can private message. And we can talk back and forth to each other through private messaging on the chat room. Tom asked a very important question. What are the cost of trades and are there ticket charges? If you open up an account with a proprietary trading firm, they charge you for every single share that you trade. Not just our proprietary trading firm, but any proprietary trading firm. That's how they make their money. And it varies depending on what firm you go with. There are no ticket charges here. We have a per share cost. And I think it starts at 80 cents per 100 shares. So if you trade if you trade 1,000 shares, it's $8. If you trade 10,000 shares, it's $80. If you trade 100,000 shares, it's $800. I think that's what they start with. Again, I am the education part of this. We do have a proprietary trading firm in the same place. So our students are extremely lucky in that anyone who goes through our training program here goes right out to our training floor and becomes part of my trading group. Go from the classroom right out there. Tom, the costs decrease as your volume increases. And I think the first break is not very high. It's at like 150,000 shares per month. And then it goes down to 6. I think at 250,000 shares, it goes down to 5, and so on and so forth. The more volume you trade, the cheaper your commissions get. So we don't do it by ticket charges. We do it by per share trade. Anybody got anything else? Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to show you guys a small little 4-minute video. Hold on, I think Harold has a question. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a 4-minute video. It's a testimonial video. What I want you to keep in mind is that all these people that you're going to see here are in my office trading with me. It's no, I won't curse, but it's not BS. It's not stuff that's made up. You might find it hard to believe when you look at some of the women who have gone through my training process, but trust me, they are all here with me. They are all trading with me, and everything you're going to see is just the God's honest truth. Let me pop this up there for you guys very quickly, and we'll get at it. That's fine.
Hello, my name is David Green. I am the Director of Education here at Equity Trading Capital. The footage you are about to see...
Not playing, right, Stuart? Why does that happen? All right. It's okay. It's all right, guys. Sometimes we have, hold on, let me ask, if we are following your daily trades, why wouldn't we make money right away? That's a great question, Harold. It's a great question. And the object is not to do exactly what I do. Okay? That's not what we teach here. I'm going to teach you how to day trade for yourself. My students do not do every single trade that I do. They are not waiting for me to tell them when to buy or sell something. I am teaching them how to buy and sell something on their own. Okay? I am not telling them to buy a stock here and to buy a stock there. No. I'm going to teach you how to trade. I don't want to feed you a fish. I want to teach you how to fish. Okay? If you want, and it's a completely different story, and I've had people do this for me, yeah, you can sit with me if you want for like maybe $1,000 a day, and we can go over every single trade that I do, and then eventually you can take it to the next level from there. But the object of what we do here is to teach you how to trade. Period. Your business, you have to learn how to trade. Go to our website at equitytradingcapital.com and check out the testimonial video. It's on there.